Welcome to the news on Canal de English. I am Elie Smith. Good evening. First, the headlines. The Cameroon Chambers of Commerce and Industries are meeting here in Douala, the economic capital of Cameroon. What are they talking about, or what are their plans? These and many more will be developed here in our newscast by Ndi Morin. Yesterday, we brought you the news that Cameroon's national carrier, Cameco, is off for a new start. And today, our senior reporter, Henry Kejang, tells us that the MA-60 new aircraft of Cameco is ready to confront the skies. And out of Cameroon and out of Africa, Russia and the United States that had opposing view on the crisis in the Middle East and Syria in particular seems to have found a common ground. But will it help to end the 5-year civil war in the greater Middle East and in Syria in particular? That is what our reporter Christel Catala will endeavor to answer in this newscast. Good evening once again. As I announced at the introduction of this program or this news, we are not going to begin in the Russia, but back here in the littoral province and precisely in the Cam division, where the citizens or inhabitants of that locality have always been complaining about neglect and the poor state of their road. As if it were not enough, a bridge linking the divisional capital of Yabassi, the divisional capital of the Cam division, Yabassi, and the locality of Bonepupa has been blocked. By what? By a truck. And Ndi Morin gives us more details about what seems to have caused panic in that locality.
Many saw this as a dangerous and delicate approach to clear this truck off the Debang Bridge that links Yabassi to other neighborhoods. After hours of enormous effort that generally comes with stress, this truck was finally pulled out, thus freeing these roads blocked since Friday. Logs of wood were also removed from the water on the bridge, this coming after 3 days of a nightmare experienced by persons plying this stretch of road. A majority of the road users have frowned at this seemingly narrow bridge, whose quality remains wanting. They have cracked down on what they have described as laxity on the path of government.
Le pont est déjà défectueux d'abord pour commencer.
The bridge is in a deplorable state to begin with. Another thing is that the bridge was poorly constructed with makeshift structures. Another thing is that the bridge was poorly constructed. That is why the truck got trapped here. Passengers are the ones paying the price.
Depuis 3 jours, nous faisons le transbordement.
The SDO for Cam was at the spot. He has taken measures to ease circulation. They should know that the road is very small. 2 vehicles can't cross at the same time. The second thing is that we need to check on the load of trucks. Felix Bello Nongo has served a warning to all forest exploitation companies in the area. We need experienced drivers. Unfortunately, we have so many of them around here who are learning how to drive on the road at the risk of passengers. Calm has returned on this stretch which links Yabassi to Bonepupa.
From the Cam division in the littoral region, we are going to the capital of Cameroon, which is Yaoundé. And there, a workshop has been going on the plight of indigenous people. And there, we were told that the people around the world, or nations around the world, have been schooled and asked to respect the rights of indigenous people. For more, let's go back to Yaoundé with the report from Carol Kemaju.
People are strongly attached to their social integrity and ethnic identity. At one moment, they are subjected to forced assimilation by the society.
Discriminatory policies and laws against indigenous peoples, and to amend or reform these laws that are promoting discrimination, like looking at indigenous peoples as backward peoples, as peoples who are superstitious. These are kinds of discriminatory.
9 African countries answered present to this 2-day workshop with objective to promote freedom, social security, physical and mental integrity of indigenous people in Africa, except all these people are seeking for is the preservation of their cultural identity, as they are often deprived of their lands, territories and resources.
The World Conference on Indigenous Peoples Outcome Document, together with the other documents like the Paris Agreements, and also what is in our constitutions, in the plans of actions in our respective countries.
Pygmies and Bororos are main indigenous population in Cameroon. All they are asking is for stakeholders to adopt relevant human rights instruments and laws promoting and protecting them in the society.
Well, we are back in the economic capital of Douala, where we have the news that Cameco's MA60 jets are ready to fly the skies after their certification and matriculation. For details, let's listen or follow the report of Henry Kejang Atembe.
The MA60 jet of Cameco is ready to fly the skies. The 2 jets acquired for domestic flights have been certified and immatriculated by the Cameroon Civil Aviation Authority. What is left to be done is for the jet to take off from the tarmac.
MA60 is a new aircraft who is going to operate within the country in Central Africa also. So it was very important for us to start with our travel agencies. You know that we are cooperating all the time with them. If there's anything, any improvement in our business, they're the first people to be informed about. So that's why today is a great day for Cameco.
As the jets are ready to serve domestic lines, travel agencies were brought in to appreciate the new jets.
The Cameco plane, the new planes Cameco just brought, I say is wow. It's very, very interesting. The planes are very, very beautiful, very comfortable. I think with our passengers are really going to appreciate it. And with the new initiative, like the new destination, like they say, by the end of this month, they're going to start the Bafoussam. It's going to be very, very encouraging because, like for passengers, for people who travel to Bamenda, for example, it's really.
In an exchange with travel agencies, the CEO of Cameco, Jean-Paul Nanasanjo, assured them of the international safety standards. Cameco officials have confirmed the date of the inaugural flight, which is December 29, 2015.
Well, that was Henry Kejang Atembe. And here again, once again in Douala, as we announced at the headline, that the businessmen and women of Cameroon, that the Chambers of Commerce, have decried the rise of insecurity around the country, especially in the far north, where the Islamic sect, Boko Haram, is still harassing and operating. For details about what took place in the meeting between the guys of the Chambers of Commerce, Ndi Maureen, once again, has the details.
A new page is about opening for the Cameroon Chamber of Commerce, Industry, Mines and Crafts, especially with the voting of a new bureau in February 2016. But before then, different sections, that is, crafts, industry, mines and trade, are examining their strengths and weaknesses and their contributions to the economy of the nation after 3 years of mandate.
Section, we've succeeded to sign so many conventions. The first one was with ANO, with the Norms Department, to help normalize the manufacturing products which we are producing in Cameroon. We have also successfully signed convention with BMN, which is the upgrading of we've achieved. We are also forging with the government to create the industrial bank, which will help us to get financing to move ahead with creating more industries.
The industry section is reflecting on the cost of production of industrial goods, which they say is costly.
The is because the cost of production of industrial goods in Cameroon is very high. Cost of production in terms of cost of electricity, in terms of cost of importation of raw material, in terms of cost of fixed charges like labor, in terms of cost of, financing itself. It's very, very expensive.
The trade section, on its part, has invited traders to embrace technological innovations, which makes business faster and more profitable.
Evolution has shown that many people are turning into electronic commerce.
The craft section is worried on the retirement status of craftsmen. Most of them talk of a positive balance sheet. They want government to assist them more by ameliorating the business climate and create SME banks in interior parts of Cameroon. The December 16 meeting of the different sections is in preparation for the plenary sitting to take place on Thursday, December 17, 2015.
Well, and now Cameroon to have a contract is almost like for a camel to pass through the eye of a needle. And Adamawa, being part of Cameroon, is the same hassle when you want to obtain and also execute a contract. But the governor of the Adamawa region is trying to find a solution to those hassles. On this, Steve Fonkam has the details.
Between the compiling of documents for the request of public contracts and the execution of these contracts, the process is always extremely long, complicated, and tiring in the Adamawa region. The cankerworms of corruption and the usurpation of authority are said to be responsible for this stoic system. First and foremost, corruption kills our society. We cannot grow stronger economically if such unfortunate practices persist. However, as it is said, in every dark cloud there is a silver lining. This year, 242 public contracts were given out, with the great majority executed completely in spite of the inherent corruption in the administrative sector. Before refocusing on the appealing manner with which projects are executed and sometimes even abandoned, the administration in Adamawa has chosen to focus by 2016 on the announcement of public contracts by January 1st and their distribution latest April 1st, 2016. This will go a long way to reduce the lengthy period of impasse between postulating for a public contract and the execution of the contract. The materialization of a project is everyone's affair and not a person's affair or that of the administration alone. The programming conferences organized from December 14th to 16th in Gaoundéré had as main objectives to facilitate the execution of public contracts and the amelioration of the rate of financial and material execution of the farmer.
Still in the Adamawa region, where there is a kind of paradox taking place. All over the world, the price of commodities not skyrocketing, but tumbling. But in the Adamawa region, the price of basic commodities is skyrocketing. And what is the cause of it? I think it is Christmas. For more on this, once again, Steve Fonkam.
Here, bar managers have been caught red-handed in the criminal practice of the illegal increase of prices of beer and other beverages during this festive season. We have controlled bars to reinstate the original prices because if we do not do this now, we shall have several problems during this festive period. Some women in the markets complain of a 100 francs increase in the prices of fish. The quantity of a heap of yam has equally reduced among others, and everything seems to be responsible. It is the rainy season that was not good this year. Moreover, many seedlings got rotten. As concerns the bags of sugar made in Cameroon, there is a low turnover. Bags of powdered sugar that cost 18,000 francs CFA, cartons of solid sugar that cost 4,000 francs CFA are all stocked in warehouses due to the purchase of fake sugar by business operators and vendors at a lesser price. It is the saturation of the market with many imported products that makes it difficult for us to sell. Price hikes in the Gaoundéré markets are alarming, and only the prices of fruits have not yet been affected.
We are leaving the Adamawa region to another region of the country. This time around is the northwest region, where, like most cities around the world, the cities are being transformed, cities, villages, and towns. And Bamenda is of no exception. Another lining is that it is also a time for boom time economically. It is a story written by Collins Anye Collins, but delivered by Steve Fonkham.
Though the long-time darkness on the streets of Bamenda, the ornamental trees carrying beautiful lights for the end-of-year festive period that are being mounted have begun gradually lighting up some road junctions. Shortly after they were installed, they have been attracting many who use them as background for personal photographs.
Every time that we see this, once you see this, it rings a bell in your mind. It tells you that Christmas is around. And from what I see, it's simply an indication that Christmas in Bamenda this time around is going to be something more than what it has always been.
Small makeshift businesses are experiencing a boom around the city chemist roundabouts, downtown Commercial Avenue, where the first lighting trees are found. At end-of-year periods like now, Cameroonians residing abroad, popularly referred to as bushfallers, make trips back home to commune with their loved ones. When our reporters arrived at this restaurant Monday evening, some bushfallers have just emptied the plates of their most cherished African dishes after a long time eating the white man's dishes.
A single restaurant. We are doing our best because this period is a festive period. We have many customers, especially those coming from afar. They come and give their commands, so we are very busy this period.
Yeah, what's the situation of bushfallers, those who are coming in from abroad?
Wow, so far so good.
Inhabitants of Bamenda City have expressed the wish for municipal authorities to light up more corners in town for a more effervescent Christmas and New Year feast.
It is a kind of double whammy. It is good for the transformation of Bamenda, and it's also good for the bushfallers who are back. And we are still in the Bamenda, where the University of Bamenda, created in 2010, has a new vice-chancellor. This time around, it is a lady. And for more about it, this time around, it is Anye Collins Anye himself.
The Minister of Higher Education and Chancellor of Academic Orders has told the new Vice-Chancellor of the University of Bamenda to manage the university of the future in line with parameters of the new university governance policy demanded by President Paul Biya. Professor Jacques Famindongo has made the call in Bamenda on Monday while installing Professor Teresa Nku Akenji as the VC of UBA.
I know that the incoming Vice-Chancellor will continue all the outcoming Vice-Chancellor has done so that this university become among the best, not only in our country, but also in Central Africa, in Africa, and why not in the world.
The new university governance demands the management of Cameroonian universities academically, economically, financially, socially and otherwise for wholesome graduates. Holder of a PhD in parasitology from the United States of America, the new woman at the head of Cameroon's youngest university has 51 publications and 10 research grants to her credit. She is coming in from the University of Boya, where she was until November 27, Deputy VC in charge of internal control and evaluation.
I am bringing a lot of hope, a lot of zeal. I'm bringing a lot of goodwill, hoping that I will dialogue and people will be honest for us to identify all the obstacles. As the minister said, we need to hear from everybody, from top to bottom and bottom to up.
The day ended with the inauguration of 6 new buildings whose credit for realization the minister attributed to the outgoing Professor Tafa Edokat.
We are wishing Professor Teresa Nku Akenji all the best of luck. And we still remain in Bamenda, the University of Bamenda, located at Bambili. It was an occasion that brought together the top of the academia and also of the socio-political milieu. According to our reporter, Anye Collins Anye, something extraordinary happened. But what really took place Once again, Collins Anyi have the details.
For one of very rare moments, a presiding official went back to the microphone after reading a keynote speech. It happened at the University of Bamenda on Monday, when after conducting the installation ritual of the new Vice-Chancellor, Jacques Famendongo begged for the microphone again, solemnly stood up and apologized for not acknowledging the presence of opposition SDF party politician Ni John Fundi. There was applause in the hall. From then, John Fundi was ushered to the high table to sit next to the mayor of Tuba, Tanjong Martin, who despised the SDF investiture committee to get elected as mayor. It was difficult for their eyes to meet, let alone greeting each other. For another very rare moment, an outgoing public official was given the floor to address the audience.
On October 3rd, 2011, I was installed the pioneer Vice-Chancellor of the University of Bamenda.
How about elite of Tuba, several times accused of wanting the head of Professor Edokat during his 4-year stay as Vice-Chancellor over the issue of decentralizing the university?
No, I don't think it is very wrong for anybody to think that we wanted the head of anybody. We tried to work in collaboration with him. It wasn't quite, it didn't go very smoothly, but I think we did a lot of things together. For example, we tried to put together money to begin building the Amphi 700, which I think we are going to do now.
The issue was not addressed by the minister, which means it will keep coming up because the 6 other divisions of the Northwest each demanded at least a faculty of the university.
Do we need any proof to show that Frundi is the man of the people in the Northwest region? I think the images speaks for themselves. This time around, we are leaving the Northwest region to the littoral region, precisely the Mongo division, where our reporter Annette Elie Smi tells us that the Christian men of the Presbyterian Church met in the divisional capital of the Mongo division. But what were the men of God doing there? Annette Elie Smi has the details.
Christian Men Fellowship Mongo Presbytery has once again taken a firm commitment to serve the Lord. This was during the 2015 annual rally that held in Kansamba. It was a moment to evaluate 1 year of activity.
I think that if they know God and serve God better, they'll be able to serve our nation, Cameroon, and our families and our local communities. It's an annual event and it has a lot of meaning for us in the church.
The rally is equally an important moment as fellow brothers carry out many spiritual exercises, all aimed at demonstrating what they know best: evangelism.
As a Christian, we are free to serve. And when you are appointed by God, when you are completely an empty vessel, God, anoints you to serve Him and be up to expectation for the kingdom of Christ.
This message drawn from Romans 6:15 to 20, prayers, singing competition, fellowship dance, fundraising, all characterized the day. The women who held their rally earlier equally came to assist their brothers.
And we are going back now knowing that we are free people to serve God in everything and to build a spirit of God in other people, to make other people know Jesus Christ.
These fishers of men separated from Kansamba, determined to fish more men into the kingdom of God come 2016.
From Kansamba, the divisional capital of the Mongo division, we are leaving Cameroon to Southern Africa, where the president of that country that you all know, Jacob Zuma, is under pressure. Mr. Zuma is under pressure because he has really maybe defied the record or created a record. He has appointed 2 ministers of finance in a space of 4 days. For the record, he dismissed Nene, replaced him with David Van Rooyen. Then when it was an outcry, he decided to bring back an old hand in the person of Pavin Gordhan. There was a rally in Iran, but it has tainted the image of Jacob Zuma. And we leave Africa to Europe, where we have this meeting of the Russian Minister of Foreign Affairs and that of the United States. That is Sergei Lavrov and John Kerry. They seem to be looking now in the same direction, but will it change anything, or will it bring peace in the Middle East and Syria in particular? That is what Christel Katala attempts to give us an answer. Well, it is a technical fault there. It happens everywhere. We are human beings. And it is on that note, on the pictures of Sergei Lavrov and John Kerry, that we will be rounding off our newscast for today, the 16th day of December. Tomorrow, God willing,